Is that really true, the thing you said about him having a fucking vibrating dick?
That's what the rumors on the internet say.
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to the Death of the Universe, a podcast for all your pantheistic needs. Think about it. Or don't. Please don't. Please clap. It is November 30th, 11:24 a.m. It's also the year 2021, year of our Lord, empty slate. Okay. Well, skip all the fun pleasantries. Just get right into it, I guess. Jesus, it's so weird, man. Do we skip one episode, and I feel like we haven't done the podcast for a year. It's so weird.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I have some idea why, but anyway. So right off the bat, Daniel Hale update. So I get updates sent to my email about him through
I get those too.
Through standwithdanielhale.org. And this one said, I'll just read some of it. Last month, after an excruciatingly long wait in a regional jail, drone whistleblower Daniel Hale was finally transferred to a federal prison facility. In most respects, this was a significant upgrade in living conditions, but it also meant that Daniel was placed in the restrictive Communications Management Unit, CMU, one of the lesser-known Kafkaesque legacies of the Bush administration's war on terror. Yeah, Communications Management Unit just sounds like one of those bland names for something really, 1984-esque and evil. These facilities have stricter limits on correspondence and much heavier surveillance than other facilities. The effect is to distance Daniel from friends and supporters and to impede his contact with the outside world at a time when drone strikes have come under closer scrutiny from mainstream journalists than ever before. With the belated media attention, more Americans saw what Daniel had been trying to tell them for years. We may never get a full accounting of how many innocent lives, how many whole families were destroyed in those years the government spent prosecuting a voice of conscience instead of admitting the truth about civilian casualties in drone warfare. So he's in a facility that is known as the Guantanamo North, I guess the larger point here is that there's instructions on how to write to him, and they're insanely overcomplicated too. I don't know if you've read them, Jason.
Yeah, I thought the biggest thing was it had to no more than 6 pages, white paper.
Yeah, like it's like down to like this the color of the paper and the ink and standard size envelopes. Yeah, and you couldn't be more than 6 pages. The 6 pages thing is probably because they don't want people to send like important documents or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're gonna read all of it anyway before he gets to him. So I don't know. It just seems like a way of sort of like swinging their dick around. But it also says he can't respond to group or organizational letters, only individual persons. He can receive photos in color. I guess you can't get black and white photos. I don't know if that's what that means.
I don't know. I imagine he can get black and white photos too. Maybe they're just letting you know that it's in color.
Yeah. Fun memes. Yeah, maybe he'd like to see memes. Anyway.
Transcripts, such as of interesting podcast. I guess you could fit that on 12 pages, well, 6 pages double-sided, because you can do double-sided.
Yeah.
Transcripts seems like it
suggests it says he is hoping for articles he found compelling, workout routines to help pass the time, and words of affirmation. Hand drawings are allowed, and we encourage them. Paperback books, magazines, and newspapers can be sent directly from the publisher or from Amazon. So...
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, the rules for like every prison, maybe.
Well, it says here that that he's placed in a specifically like heightened communications like restricted area, like so I think it's actually more stringent than like say just a normal inmate in a run of the mill prison. But I don't know, that just seems to be like what the update was implying, at least. But in any case, it sounds like you can at least send like, I guess what I'm getting at is like, we know like he's in a tough spot, and he's talked about dealing with like severe depression and stuff, and I can't imagine being where he is any help with that, to put it lightly. So even though I'm living pretty far away, I'm still going to try to send some physical stuff. I mean, it would be cool if we could just email him, but
yeah, I can't. I think that's yeah.
I think that might be part of the communications block that he's under. But yeah. In any case, he's been transferred to the true big house now, and but people that think he did the right thing and that it's an injustice that he's going to be in jail for 45 months should send him some words of encouragement. I'm sure it probably helps a lot with his mental state. To get stuff like that. So anyway, check the show notes for link to all the relevant info. But let's go on to the next item.
The next thing.
Yeah. What's up with Vietnam? What happened in Vietnam?
Well, lots of stuff has happened in Vietnam over the course of history.
Nah, only one thing. This one thing.
This is maybe not a big surprise, but workers in Vietnam have lived inside factories during the pandemic to keep products on the shelves. I think Samsung's biggest factory is in Vietnam, and there's other tech factories in Vietnam too, like Apple suppliers and apples. They make apples. Just like dumb. Yeah, so I mean, there's been worker shortages and problems during COVID, right? And Vietnam, I think, had like COVID under control for the most part during most of the pandemic, as you know, as much as any country can keep it under control comparatively to other places.
Yeah, it was really, it was like, I think it was like, I remember looking like months and months into the pandemic, and it was like, I want to say it was like single digit deaths.
Yeah,
like
and one of the ways they kept it under control while still running their factories is they just had the people that worked at the factories live inside the factories. Not like in factory housing, just like literally living there. Like, okay, your shift's over, go sleep on the floor, and whoever's going to take over for you now, which it's awful, but I guess it's not surprising. I don't know. Just felt like it's something to bring up that I'm sure these people.
But this is specifically
about
Samsung factories, right? Or
no. The article brings up Samsung, but it's also about Apple, Foxconn, Luxshare, Goertech. There's a lot of tech companies in Vietnam running their factories there.
But were yeah, okay. Yeah. But so that they were doing the same thing in all of these companies?
Yeah, they were doing it at all these companies. So like basically their schedule would look like you would wake up at 6 a.m., work. It's just people living inside factories for months on months to keep the products coming, to keep people's phones on the shelves. I just wanted to bring up that people in some places that have been doing well with COVID were suffering in other ways, and maybe just like living in miserable situations just because that was the only way they could stay employed. There wasn't much they could do about it. And now they're being lauded or, applauded for keeping the economy alive in Vietnam.
It looks like there's like a whole TikTok subgenre of Vietnamese factory workers. Queuing, being bored, showing their monotonous lifestyles inside the factories. Yeah. It's weird because like you see a headline like this and you immediately think, oh, that's fucked up. But like there's some quote from one of the workers here too that says, I feel so lucky. If I stayed home, I couldn't be sure I wouldn't have been infected by now. It feels a little bit like, I don't know, because I think the way that Vietnam really kept the numbers down was that they basically closed off the country from everybody. Like they basically did what China did, and like if you did have symptoms, you were like locked in your house essentially. I've got a friend who lives in Vietnam, and he's been talking about how he's like essentially been trapped in the country like recently. Like he's actually trying to leave but can't. He lives in Da Nang, and he's getting kind of pissed about the like sort of government overreach. Like just like he said, like he told me earlier, like when the numbers would go up just slightly, which would mean like 6 infections a day or something in the whole country, like people would instantly be like told to like stay in their homes. He's like, I can't even like go for a walk. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to rehash the like same thing we say about COVID, dealing with COVID too much, but it's like it's a weird like rock and a hard place situation, I think, in a way.
I'm getting to the opinion that since what I thought should have been done at the beginning is just like a ship sailed, that at this point people should just, go catch it. Let's just all catch it. It's the only thing to do. Fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people, and I mean this, I had an article about this anyway, so we might as well just say it, like do it now because it connects to this. Then is there's this new variant which Omicron or Omicron. Even though every time I see it written, I want to say Omnicron. Like it sound like it makes me think of like
Transformers.
No, I was gonna say like
it makes me think of Transformers.
I mean, now that
Megatron.
now that you say it, it also makes me think of that. But
Omicron.
No, but if it was really Omicron, like that makes me think of like the name of like an evil company in like a movie.
Yeah, me too.
Oh no,
I can see that.
Omicron's gonna bulldoze the summer camp if we don't get enough money by the end of the year. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of people are saying, like scientists included, are saying that basically everyone on Earth is going to get COVID at some point or another, and that we just have to accept it. And
it's like we've said it before on the podcast. It's like the flu. I mean, that seemed to be the end goal, is they just wanted to turn it into the flu.
Yeah, the problem is that it's worse than the flu, but in terms of mortality rates. But also,
I think the mortality rates of the flu were worse when it first started, and eventually we figured out methods of keeping it under control. But yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's different. It's just different. I don't know. I mean, I
don't know if it is different. They're not the same thing, but it's. I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think they ever had any intentions of trying to eradicate it, because they didn't take the actions to do it. And at this point, it's just. But
I'm also saying it's like we shouldn't be hysterical, but we also shouldn't be like so blasé and just say it's going to be the same as the flu, because we don't know that yet. We just don't know that. And I mean, the world superpower China is still intensely attempting a zero COVID policy, even though, you know, some people might say it's futile. But I mean,
I should be clear. I don't think the zero COVID policy was futile, but I've realized that the leadership we have in the world makes it futile.
Well, that's what's interesting to me. That then I wonder why China is like the outlier, because China is not just some like small crank little country, like New Zealand was still holding out on zero COVID until recently, but they're just New Zealand. But like when China is still doing it, it seems like, do they know something we don't, or are they maybe using zero COVID for their own nefarious ruling class needs? Like, I guess I just don't really know for sure. But
are they lying about their numbers? Some people say that. I don't think they are, actually. From talking to my friends who are there, but
I mean, I would probably say that like every country is probably misrepresenting their numbers to some degree. But I don't know exactly. In any case, like the new variant people are talking about, like it hasn't been shown to be more deadly or more contagious than Delta yet, but it is like extremely mutated. Like it has more mutations than any of the other ones before, which doesn't necessarily mean it's worse. I mean, but it looks a lot different from the previous mutations.
Can I say a bit of my piece on this? This is actually being more sincere than I was being a minute ago. There's a few things that I've noticed with like Omicron being revealed, where first off, scientists from South Africa were the first people to alert the world because they have a really great detection system. But the media, the first way they reported on it was by saying, new coronavirus formed in South Africa, and basically blaming them for it, when really they're detecting and warning the world, which I kind of hate because it's kind of this weird, like, almost racist thing. I guess.
Well, yeah, and they don't actually know that it's
originated there. Yeah, they just have like a great, like, they actually have a really good medical system. They've done a lot of research into it, and they're alerting the world to it. But it's like they're taking the blame for it. Another thing is, this virus keeps mutating, and a big part of that is not so much that, like, we've got vaccines in the West now, and in the I don't know, G20, G100 countries, whatever. Rich countries are for a large part, mostly vaccinated at this point. But there's still a ton of countries that aren't, and it's going to allow the virus to just keep mutating more and more. And one of the big reasons the countries that the world is still stalled on vaccinations when you look at it globally is the fact that some people have went out of their way to make sure that the patents for the vaccine were kept intact, and the way to make them was not shared with various countries because, we need to make sure that Moderna and Pfizer keeps making their profits every year.
Right.
So, like, when I say I don't think leadership would try to fix anything, I really don't. I think they're just trying to make sure that pharmaceuticals get more money. There are, like, ways that this could have been, or a lot of things could be prevented, and it's just like people aren't doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also think there's a lot of like just plugging of ears and closing of eyes and going la 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 la. We don't want to think about this because like here in Korea, we're getting like this triumphalism of like with the virus. It's like the slogan of like the country now is like we gotta live with it. We gotta we can't keep like going really like the restrictions here have never been that heavy or serious even early on, but
I'll tell you, had my dad had to live under the rules here, he would have clawed his eyes out.
What, having to like QR code when you go in to sit down in a restaurant,
having to wear a mask. You laugh.
I do laugh.
Trust me. I know plenty of Americans who would have thought these restrictions were fucking crazy.
I'm gonna be.
I also thought they were mild, to be honest, and it's hard for me to believe that they were strict compared to the world's insane. I'm
preparing myself for getting a lot of rude looks from people in 2 weeks.
Are you going to wear a real mask? Because I still talk to American friends who thinks it's okay to wear a cloth mask, which is crazy to me, but
I'll probably just wear the surgical ones because I feel fairly confident. Well, there's N95s and then there's surgical. Yeah. Surgical ones are just more comfortable. They're way less effective as well, but it still makes me feel like I'm doing something right. I don't know.
I wear KF94 mainly because why not? It's the Korean N95 mask.
Except it's 9.4. But yeah, it's the same thing, basically.
Yeah, they're similar.
I'm just saying that, Korea's numbers are high as they've ever been. And yes, relatively they're still low. But, even, and not just infection rates, but deaths. But also, the vaccination rate now is at fully vaccinated is 79%, partially vaccinated 82%. Now they're even adding to the booster shot numbers, 5.5%.
So here's where I am. I just figure we get a shot every year, where some people don't. Not everyone gets the flu vaccine every year, but and hopefully over time the people, develop more immunities for it. There's better over-the-counter medicines for it. Because it's not necessarily that I wanted to give up on a zero COVID thing, but that's just what I think's happened.
I know. I'm not saying that I'm in the streets yelling about it either. I'm as resigned as you to reality. I'm just saying I think it's fucked up. That's all. And I guess you're saying, of course it is, but it goes without saying that it's fucked up. It's going to be interesting to be back in America soon. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Yeah.
I did see it was some high official in Germany. Was it in this article? Might have been in this article. But I did see where some high official in Germany was basically by the end of winter, everyone will either be everyone will be vaccinated for COVID, will have gotten COVID and died, or yeah, that's basically what he said. Is everyone will be vaccinated for COVID, and the ones who aren't will probably be dead by the end of winter. And I'm like, I wonder how true that is. I don't think they'll all be dead. I've known people to get over COVID. My sister got over COVID.
Maybe they're just trying to scare people into getting the vaccine. I mean, is that what he meant by that, though? Or she?
Yeah, I'd have to find that quote. I saw it the other day.
Because they know that they know that's not true. I mean,
yeah. Like everyone will be dead, but you know.
But I mean, I think their point is that they're saying what is like the general wisdom now, which is everyone's going to get it inevitably. Like, you might as well just embrace it and get vaccinated so you severely lower your chances of dying from it. But there's other scary shit. Just this morning, I saw an article. I didn't have time to like delve into it, but it was basically like a fairly large study showing one out of every 100 people with COVID infection have some sort of nervous system damage, like, which is affecting like cognition and things like that. Which maybe people say, oh, whatever. We're already really stupid. Like, we can manage to be a little more stupid. Why not? Anyway, what's next on the list here? Oh yeah, Franklin D. Here's a little history lesson. Franklin D. Roosevelt's forgotten anti-gay sex crusade. So this, I mean, I guess it really shouldn't be shocking, but people, you know, like people to the left or whatever, kind of, we put FDR in like in the hero column usually, yeah. And then we remember like, oh, the Japanese concentration camps, and it's like, yeah, well, but the New Deal. I mean, it doesn't take away from the New Deal, but I don't know. It's just like one more thing that kind of like puts a historical figure into the real context, which was FDR was. So this was way back in 1919, and it was considered one of the first 20th century, at least, anti-gay witch hunts, and it was specific to the United States Navy. Or I think, yeah. So FDR was what was he? Some level of Secretary of the Navy. I forget exactly what. Assistant Secretary of the Navy. And there's, I mean, you know, it made me realize, like, maybe this is where that whole idea of the Navy being a particularly gay branch of the military comes from.
Oh, it could be. I never thought about that. I always just thought it's because there's a lot of men out on boats.
Yeah, but like the military in general is a lot of men, like in close quarters too. But yeah. I mean, it says here that FDR even wrote like an article, like sort of like fear mongering in for Ladies' Home Journal entitled "What the Navy Can Do for Your Boy."
Yeah, and like, I guess there's a witch hunt for like any men having sex in the Navy at this point, because
also what they called gender impersonation. Also, they were like lumping all these things together, like drug use, vice, just vice itself. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty gross that this went on, and that the thing is that FDR, like, he basically went to like his higher ups and said he wanted to like basically put people undercover that would like have sex with other guys just to entrap them. and that he went ahead and did it, even though his superiors told him no. They were like, "No, are you insane? This is like a stupid fucking waste of time." And he was just like so hell bent on it, he did it anyway. And there's some I don't know. It's just it's kind of an interesting article. there's this section where Eleanor Roosevelt describes like going to like, I don't even know why they were in this situation, but they were like basically seeing some kind of like play or something. And I guess one of the actors was like a guy in drag who like she seemed like sort of delighted by, but FDR was very uncomfortable. Because I think it's like widely understood that Eleanor Roosevelt was actually gay. Yeah. Anyway, this article posits also that FDR did this as he thought that it would help boost his chances of eventually becoming president one day, or at least getting into higher office. Because he could say like he went on this like moralistic crusade.
People do like moralistic crusades.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, he got elected 4 times. I mean, didn't hurt him, I guess, because this was like a fairly well known, I guess, thing that happened in history. I mean, it's pretty much forgotten now, but I think people at the time were aware. Yeah, I don't know. I just ran across that. I wasn't seeking out something like, let's find some dirt on FDR.
Yeah, why are you trying to throw FDR under the bus? No, I didn't know about this. This is terrible. I'm one of those people just assume that every historical figure has done something terrible.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not shocked, but like, I think some part of me is like, there's some naive lib inside me that is like, no, FDR was probably all for like LGBTQA plus rights.
No, I don't imagine any politicians pre 2000.
I don't even know how many of them are now, really. But
yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
In any case, I mean, I guess it's a measure of progress that FDR couldn't get elected today. Not with that in his history.
Probably not.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on to the next thing. What is the next thing?
Michael Flynn. What did Michael Flynn say? He was the former national security advisor in the Trump administration. Do you know that?
Yeah, he's a real psycho.
Cool guy. He said that if we're going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion. One nation under God, one religion under God. Yeah, sure. What's the religion? Money?
Yes, technically. I mean, American like Protestantism is essentially the worship of money and of America itself, or the idea of America that they have stuck in their heads. But I mean, even the video that's here in the article, like if you look at the bottom of it, it says it's presented by AmericanFaith.com. Like, that just looks like such a, yeah.
Great organization.
Yeah. Great organization that is a little.
Time to freeamerica.com. Request tickets at time to fucking shit. I fucking hate these people. Free America from what? Being freed from.
From idolatry, from polytheism, from everything that doesn't conform to your local community church's theology and politics. Yeah, I mean, like, I just find shit like this funny because, and I'm not the first person to point this out, but like American evangelicals really, if they have any equivalent like in other parts of the world, it's like ISIS. Like, I mean, there are degrees, of course, and there's degrees of like Islamic supremacy as well, of course, but like there are hardcore, like what are called like dominionists in America, and I think Michael Flynn probably is one. If he, like, most people don't usually just come out and say this thing, like he's saying it. But also he's kind of known to like be like a provocateur, I guess. Like, I mean, he was only in the administration for what, like a couple months or something.
Yeah, it was not very long-lived. He was not long-lived in the administration.
But he still has like remained this like national figure throughout the Trump administration, at least, that people have lionized. Yeah, anybody can be a hero.
Are they shock artists or zealots?
Could be both, I guess.
I haven't heard the term dominionist, though.
Yeah, Dominion. I mean, like during the Bush years was when I remember like reading a lot about like American theocrats, because that stuff was much more prevalent then than it is now. Like I think it still exists like pretty strongly. It's just not as it's not quite as like brazen and public as it was in those days.
Yeah.
Because under Trump, like Trump was not religious as much as he liked to hold.
But he held the Bible that one time.
Yeah, he held the Bible awkwardly that one time, and he said he didn't want to say what his favorite Bible verse was because it's too personal. I remember that.
I feel that though.
My point is that he didn't emphasize the evangelical.
My favorite
thing.
Bible verse is Austin 3:16.
It's a good one.
That's the line where he says, "I'm going to open a can of whoop ass on you, boy."
Yeah, I like that one.
It's a good part of the Bible.
My
right before he body slammed the Undertaker, who was a minion of the devil.
My favorite one is how a man with deformed or injured testicles shall not be allowed into a holy place of worship.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the Old Testament. I remember just randomly opening the Bible when I was like forced to sit through a church service as like a teenager, and like the first thing I saw was the word like testicles. I was like, say what now? Like what? Why am I here? What is this religion? What is this book? Anyway, yeah, so that's Michael Flynn on how America should be a theocracy, and specifically a Christian one. Let's see. Before we get to this next thing about Billy Gates, let's see what the old randomizer has to say. I guess I shouldn't just look for one that I want, but here's the first one that comes up, and you can always say pass to find a better one. What do you remember most about your first crush? I think this question sucks.
I don't know who my first crush was, so I'm not sure.
I mean, I think of like a movie character.
Well, my first crush was probably someone from elementary school.
Yeah.
I remember not much liking her as I got older.
That's what you remember most about her.
Yeah. I don't fucking know.
I know, that's why I said you could say pass.
This question sucks.
I know.
I remember the first time I crushed somebody.
This is a way better question. This is the next one that comes up. What uncommon thing would you encourage everyone to try once? LSD?
Yeah, actually. But I'm not supposed to say that. Not that I would know. Yeah, I mean, try that. It's worth it. Yeah. What other uncommon thing would I suggest? Probably some food stuff, but then it's not like uncommon some places, but common other places.
Let's say uncommon for our majority audience, which is mostly people from North America.
Next time you're driving through the southeast, South Carolina, Alabama, stop into a convenience store and pick up a bag of fried chicken gizzards and douse them in some hot sauce and eat them and just be very happy. Also, I highly recommend the fried chicken gizzards you can get in Korea. I think the name for them here are Dokdonjib. Chicken gizzards. Is that... I don't know if that's weird, though. That's probably not weird.
It is.
I was going to say
some
like
people
live octopus. I'm just always thinking about food because I'm fucking hungry right now.
Live octopus. That's a real interesting feast for the eyes as well.
Maybe you're not supposed to eat meat. Fuck, I'm suggesting people to do something morally wrong.
It doesn't matter. It's just a dumb question.
I've lived so long that nothing is uncommon anymore. That's the problem. Maybe just spend a day without touching your phone.
That's a good one.
See how it makes you feel. Okay, those are my answers. I think I gave that too many answers and too much thought.
I mean, like, I'm just thinking of stuff that, like, the majority of people in the world probably haven't done. So, like, I would recommend swimming with whale sharks.
I've never done that.
It's really cool. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life.
That sounds scary, though.
They're not dangerous. They don't have teeth. That's where the whale part comes in. It's the biggest fish in the world. I've swam with the biggest fish on Earth. That's a cool thing.
Was it a consensual swim?
Yes, and there were like 20 of them, and they just kind of like swam in a big circle in this like kind of cove area. It was in the Philippines, but there's spots like that in Mexico. You don't have to go all the way to the Philippines. There's you can just Google it, and yeah. All right, so Billy William Epstein Gates. There's a fairly thorough article here. I'll try to sum it up quickly, though. But there's some new documents have been released, I guess, or leaked, possibly, showing that Bill Gates is just, and this is something people already kind of knew, but like this is showing to like maybe like more of the full extent of how much he does this. Like he just buys off media companies for like positive press, and we now have like an itemized list here, basically, and essentially what the author they went through 30,000 grants in the company's data in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation database, and so they've revealed that they've bankrolled hundreds of media outlets and ventures, at least $319 million worth over the years. And
Bro, do you try to tell me charity's a bad thing?
Not inherently bad, but Bill Gates' charity is fucking not charity, because he's like doubled his wealth ever since he started being quote unquote charitable. Ever since he said, I'm going to just give all my money away, he's just like doubled his wealth. Like, and one of the ways he does that, the ways he, and this also goes into how he spun his, public image. Like you've brought up how, the public in general was like had turned on Gates like in the 90s, right?
Oh yeah.
Because he was like, the way he turned Microsoft into like a monopoly was like really shady at the very least, if not like doing outright illegal stuff, but at least like stuff that would seem immoral, and not in the spirit of laissez-faire capitalism.
He was very cutthroat.
Yeah. But that
completely willing to buy up and gut a competitor.
Well, it's really it's interesting how that image changed though suddenly around like the early 2000s or whatever. That's when he started like funneling, like his top recipient is NPR at 24 million and a half, give or take, dollars. NPR. Guardian is second. Other public radio places, Univision, Der Spiegel in Germany, like it's all around the world too. Places in Kenya, France, South Africa, Spain, the BBC, CNN. I forget where it was, and I'm not gonna take the time to find it now. But like, it was one of these like media outlets that he has given tons of money to. Once wrote a profile on him called "Bill Gates is the most interesting man in the world."
I think I read that article.
And
can't remember much about it, but I'm pretty sure I read it. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and the other thing that I guess you have to take into account when you're like really tallying up all the money is that so he's also given money to like charities that are closely aligned to big media outlets. So that's like in essence kind of like giving the money indirectly to them. So it's just another way of like sneaking around. Including the International Center for Journalists, which is a very shady organization. They're the ones who actually, like, I'm pretty sure they're the ones who broke open, like, the Panama Papers and the, what were the other ones called? The Pandora Papers, and then there was another one. Yeah. And how, as much as that seemed like, oh, yeah, this is, like, really sticking it to the ruling class and, like, all these people that hide their money in offshore places, like, the most recent one, the Pandora Papers, and I'm now basically paraphrasing from Ben Norton at the Gray Zone. He did a really good investigative piece on this. That the Pandora Papers are basically just like propaganda, like pro-Western propaganda in a way, because miraculously, not a single person out of those like millions of documents happened to come from the United States of America or Canada, or England. And like mostly they were just throwing like Middle Eastern and South American financiers under the bus, even though no one ends up getting in trouble for this shit anyway. Like, it just kind of sits there as like a story that comes out and people go, wow, look at all the corruption. And then like, you know, everyone goes back to bed. But like, it is really weird that not a single person is an American financier out of those like thousands of people and like millions of documents.
It is weird.
Yeah, and
I mean, I think this piece about Gates really sums up. I like the conclusion. It's kind of what I was getting at with charity when I said, "You're telling me charity's a bad thing," because sometimes I think charity really is a bad thing.
Sometimes it is. I agree. The way Bill Gates says it, for sure.
But the writer has a quote here that's like, philanthropy can and is being used to deliberately divert attention away from different forms of economic exploitation that underpin global inequality today. I guess that's something Lindsay McGooey said. She's a professor of sociology at the University of Essex in the United Kingdom. But yeah, no, I think there's something to the whole, like, billionaires like Bill Gates and all of them are always just like applauded for all the charity work they do, all the philanthropy they do. But you know what would probably help society a lot more is we just tax the motherfuckers into the ground and not worried about their charity. Maybe even to some degree banned the charity, because charity can often be manipulated and not spent in appropriate ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the things we've revealed, or I guess just say talked about. We didn't do the fucking work to figure it out, but like stuff about Gates and like his like that, all that medical work that he's doing like in Africa, and like the way he's interacted with the COVID vaccine crisis and that whole business sector. And then this on top of it, just buying up every media outlet, essentially. I mean, this is like cartoonish, like movie villain shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. I'm sure that his foundation has done good work. It's not all bad. It's just like,
yeah, broken clock is right, you know, twice a day too. Yeah, I mean,
well, no, I mean, I'm serious. They've done some good stuff out there. But more good would be accomplished by just taxing these people and not allowing tax loopholes that are found through philanthropy.
I'm saying he's objectively doing like evil things that hurt people, that kill children, like testing out fucking polio vaccines on kids in Africa and in India who are orphans, so they don't have to have parental consent, and then finding out that it just gives them polio and continuing to do it. Like that's fucked. That's really fucked up. I mean, that's not a whoopsie. Like, because there's good polio vaccines, but no. Instead, Gates insists on no. We're gonna use this like this one that's been deemed like unsuitable and dangerous for like us humans in the West. But no, we'll give these like starving kids like the shitty one for some reason. Like, I don't even understand how that benefits him. But it's like, I mean, it's pretty well documented that this is the kind of stuff going on under the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and like all of their like supposed like research into like, you know, I don't know, trying to like stem the tide of HIV in Africa. Like, that's not the real focus. The focus is about buying up land in India, farmland, and like funding those fucking Terminator seeds and shit, like, and making sure Monsanto owns everything. Like, he wants to privatize the world, and you're gonna break a lot of fucking eggs to make that kind of omelet, is my point. Yeah, he might help somebody now and then, but I feel like it's a side effect of what he's really doing.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I said that all these philanthropy things, they help people. They don't help people much. There's better ways to help people. You tax them. You don't allow this type of loophole to exist. That's all I was saying.
I'm just talking about intent. That's all. I don't see it as even good intentions that have like gone awry. I'm just emphasizing that. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that's, I don't know. This stuff just gets under my skin. That's all. But anyway,
I think I just agree with this guy, woman, this professor that says the new capitalism threatens democracy by increasing the power of the corporate sector at the expense of the public sector organizations, which increasingly face budget squeezes, in part by excessively remunerating for in-profit organizations to deliver public services that could be delivered more cheaply without private sector involvement. Yeah, I agree. Just stop it. Stop allowing people to run these giant organizations that are supposed to help others. Just tax them and let like actual public organizations, such as our governments, which are bought out by all these people, help people instead by, showing good social programs.
Yeah, that's the bind, isn't it? Is that is that anyone in a position of power to do anything about this kind of stuff is at the mercy of these very same people like Gates, and not even just our governments, but everywhere we seem to get our information from. Like, in the very beginning of this article, they linked to an old Guardian article that was just literally entitled Saint Bill. That was just like a piece on Bill Gates. Anyway, I guess like that's not super surprising, but it is a development in the ongoing saga of Bill Gates being this unassuming, finger steepled evil villain. I mean, the only reason I was going off about like the intent thing is because I feel like a lot of people will push back and be like, well, he means well. I'm saying really strongly, forcefully, no, he doesn't. I don't think he does at all. I think he means to privatize the world and make himself as rich as fucking possible, because that's literally what he's doing and has been doing for not just 20 years, but like ever since his turn into being the cuddly billionaire. Like, he's just maximized his profits like hugely. But we should move on to...
I don't know if he means well. I just think he's trying to build the world he wants. And if you're of the same persuasion as Bill Gates, that's meaning well, right? But if you're not of the same persuasion as Bill Gates, it could come off as being evil.
Well, right. And I don't think a wholly privatized world is a good world. So yeah, I find it evil. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get who knows what's really going on in his mind, but just from taking a look at his actions over the years and all of this, where his money goes and how much his personal wealth continues to grow, despite being like this sort of Saint Bill, the guy who's going to give all his money away to AIDS research. Like, that's how most people still think of him. And I thought of him that way for way too long. I was like, oh, well, at least I've vaguely heard that him and Melinda Gates are putting a lot of their money into helping people out in Africa with AIDS therapies.
See, I always thought their big thing was malaria, not AIDS, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, no, I mean, sure, they engineer that. They want to look good in the public eye. And I think that's what most of these people do. That's the world we have. But you know what else they do? They go on luxury vacations. Beautiful luxury vacations. The white, pristine beaches, to wonderful resorts, great gambling halls and buffets in the sky. They eat delicious lobster and have cupcakes made of gold. All the fineries and fanceries that you could imagine. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah. I was going to talk about vacations in a minute, though.
Is that not next?
Yeah, it's next. Sorry. So the next thing I was going to talk about was the new luxury vacation being dumped in the middle of nowhere. So I feel like I see stuff like this every year, but I guess one of the big hobbies of the rich right now is to I don't know, go on survivalist vacations. This kind of also reminds me of when a lot of really rich people are getting into ultra marathoning, which is weird for me. I don't even know if I want to complain about it because I like marathons and weird endurance sport stuff too. But yeah, I guess rich people to feel alive because there's not much left for these people to feel alive, or just now letting themselves be dumped in the middle of the woods so they can survive for 3 or 4 days, cut off from society with just a single tracker that they can press if they get themselves in trouble.
Yeah, so it's fairly risk free. I mean, that's why it's just it's like a Disney experience of survivalism. Because if you get a little uncomfortable, you can just press the big red button and they'll send in the fucking helicopter. Is what I gathered from this article. But the article was actually kind of fun to read because the author describes going through this this survivalist situation in a solo way. I'm
kind of making fun of it, but at the same time, I would enjoy this in its own way.
I don't think there's anything wrong with I like camping. I mean, this is just camping, but this is or it's a little more. It's an sort of extreme camping, but I think the the interesting angle on it being like a rich, like something like just a rich like hobbyist thing is that, like you said, to make like the ultra rich like feel more alive because they've kind of like
they've done
all
every experience.
all the hedonistic things you can
They've
do.
had their golden cupcakes and fineries.
Yeah,
they've went to their underwater casinos.
They've been to Little St. James more times than they can count. Yeah.
They've been to the secret resort on the moon that the public's not allowed to know about.
But it when you said that, it actually made me think of like a parallel thing of like, it's like it's basically like a cliche at this point now, but like the powerful Wall Street guy or businessman or whatever or politician who like, goes and gets like, bound and gagged and like stepped on and humiliated or whatever to like get their rocks off. Like this is almost kind of that, like something along those lines in a way. It seems like to me, like not the way that the journalist is doing it, because the journalist here is just a journalist and they're just writing their experience. But like imagining, say, like, I don't know, Jeff Bezos or whatever, Elon Musk doing this kind of stuff.
They probably have.
I'm sure they have, but it also is like the spoiled brats version of like really roughing it or whatever, because like I said, they've got that button they can press. And
sure.
One thing I noticed too is like the strict guidelines are like no phone, no tent, no matches, but then like so you get like paper maps, a compass, and it says two GPS trackers. I mean, I guess that's for their safety then, I guess, right? They can't actually use that.
Yeah, I mean, like if you passed out or, maybe fell or something and you couldn't press the button.
Yeah.
And you like, were way off schedules. People know where you were.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like another like version of that. Like it's again reminding me of a fictional, but I think sort of realistic version of what rich people are like, which is billions. Like,
but are they also just doing that thing where there's this type of stuff where they're maybe training for a world that they know they've broken and they're worried about the future, so they're like, oh, we got to get ready, we got to learn how to survive out in the wilderness once everything does go to shit?
It could be. But I feel like most people that, I mean, maybe like the mid-tier rich people might be thinking that, but like the Bezoses and Musks don't think that they're gonna need to worry about this shit. Like, I mean, that's why they're trying to like live on they're trying to live on Mars and shit. Like, I'm sure they have like protocols and underground bunkers in New Zealand and whatever. Like, also, I think that I don't know what actually like Musk and Bezos or Gates like feelings are about their own mortality, but some of these rich people are pretty much convinced that they're never like they're gonna have a Ray Kurzweil style like singularity or whatever, and just like upload their consciousness.
Yeah, I'm not sure what any of them think. I feel like Bezos is one of those guys, but I can't remember if I'm just making that up or not. They're probably all those type of guys who believe they will eventually implant their mind into computers.
Yeah, I think Bezos is kind of like a health freak, like an exercise. Yeah. I don't know. He tries to stay healthy. Elon Musk strikes me as like he just like has like weird surgeries done to himself to like quote unquote stay in shape. But I don't know. Is that really true? The thing you said about him having a fucking vibrating dick?
That's what the rumors on the internet say. He has sex parties.
That shit still cracks me up. Well, sex parties are one thing. Just putting a vibrator in your dick seems so crazy to me.
I know for a fact that someone we interviewed on this show once, or not interviewed, or had on the show once, my friend N, he used to work as like a translator at a plastic surgeon penis facility here in South Korea.
Was it specifically for penises?
Yeah. And he was I don't remember what episode he was on the show, but that was his job before doing whatever he does now, which I'm not really sure what he does. I forgot. But he told me that sometimes people would come in to get these installed in their penises.
Really?
Usually it's just a pump, though. Usually you just get a pump so that, like, you know, if you can't get erect, you just press the side and you can pump your own dick up by the button that you have installed on your thigh or whatever. But they also make ones that like vibrate and like increase sexual pleasure for your lady friends if you want. Dicks are upgradable. That's all I'm trying to say, Josh.
I mean,
There's no reason to have your normal dick when you can have an upgraded dick.
It's not that I'm like, it's impossible. It's technologically impossible. It's more just like, I don't know. It kind of just, it's not my thing. We'll put it that way.
The only thing that bothers me about it is
maybe I just don't like thinking about the surgery itself.
It's hard for me to believe that Elon Musk would do something that would help
give pleasure to someone else. Yeah.
But then again, maybe it increases his pleasure too, that, like, you know, increases his confidence or whatever. These people are like egomaniacs. I'm surprised they have sex, but then I guess I'm not surprised they have sex too. Yeah,
I don't know. I do wonder about like that kind of like when they hit that point of like having done everything. See, that's what I think. Then you start just doing shit like world building. Like you become more like Bill Gates. It's like I've bought all the yachts. I've fucked all the people and things I want to fuck. Like I've traveled to all the places. I've done everything. What's left? Let's try to shape the globe with my money. I don't know. It just like seems like another like hedonistic pursuit or something in a way. But
yep.
I don't know. Is there anything else to say about the survivalist thing?
Not so much. I mean, I don't think this is that uncommon. I just thought it was interesting. It reminds me of like, you know, rich people do this type of stuff, like hiking the Appalachian Trail, which I'm not necessarily going to say is always a rich person thing, but it is expensive because you have to take 3 months off of work, you know, if you want to like hike the whole thing. I've wanted to do that, but I've never had like the ability to take 3 months off of work, you know?
Right, yeah.
Sounds crazy. Not working for 3 months sounds awesome. Hiking through the woods. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
So no, nothing else to say.
Let's see. I found something here. Yes. Cash scattered across the Southern California freeway sent drivers into a frenzy. This is like...
I saw something about this the other day.
I feel like I've seen this kind of story happen at least twice before in my life. And
do these people have to give the money back? They have to give the money back, right?
Well, not if you get away. But yeah. So in this case, it was this was in California on the interstate, and there's an armored car happened to spill cash across the freeway. Several drivers and passengers jumped out of their vehicles to grab what they could, but the police want it all back. I mean, I guess the bills are probably marked.
That's what movies say. I wonder about that, though. Like, I mean...
the pictures are so funny.
Pictures are funny. I hope they spend it. Spend it, have fun. I doubt anything's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's all insured. I
don't know. Maybe something will happen.
It was going to they were transporting money to a Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation office.
They can always just print more money.
There's also that. But like, yeah. It looks like the girl who's holding the like pile of cash doesn't one of the bills look like just a single, like it's $1?
They all look like dollars.
Are they all just $1? Are they all just dollars?
Yeah, that says that they're $1 and $20 bills. The guy holding the big wad of cash seems like he's holding all $20 bills.
Yeah, there's the 2 ones down by his belly there.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's something like there's something like almost too obviously symbolic or something about the idea of people like risking their very lives for like a handful of cash, and like instantly just like you see this cash flying down the highway and you like swerve off the side of the road and go running after it. Like, I don't know, there's something sad and funny about it at the same time. Also, there's something just purely funny about what this California Highway Patrol Sergeant Curtis Martin said. I highly suggest to anybody that picked up cash out here, it's not your cash, so turn it in immediately to the California Highway Patrol office in Vista. So he's just like strongly suggesting like they're not getting that shit back.
Yeah, I have a feeling a few people probably went and turned it in.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
That's peasant mindset, man. I feel like most people like in like when they see, like we've talked about how we love like bank robbing movies and always cheer for the bank robbers.
Yeah,
like I feel like that's most people. I don't think we're like weirdos in that way, because there's the whole idea of like the money's insured. Like no one's necessarily getting hurt unless something goes wrong in the robbery process. But anyway, do you want to just leave it there, or do you want to?
No, that seems like a good place. I should go soon anyways.
Oh damn! I just saw the time. Yeah. Okay. You got time to recommend something?
Yeah, I've got time to recommend something.
Okay.
I thought I had a recommendation ready.
I've got one.
Now my brain's kind of blanking on me. Wait. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just like, okay, go for it.
Okay. My recommendation is an entire franchise. I'm going to recommend the Purge franchise.
Never seen them.
I've just been rewatching them actually, and they're fucking fun as hell. They're great. I'm going to go ahead and say they're great. Like when I first like heard about like I think the Purge and the second Purge, when I would like see them in passing like in advertisements or whatever, I just kind of thought like, what the fuck is this shit? It looks like Saw. Like I don't know, in my mind I just thought, is this like a Saw type of movie? And I hate the Saw movies.
Torture porn movie?
It's not. They're not though. I mean, there's certain. I guess in rewatching them recently, there's like a certain aesthetic elements that sort of might make you think of something like Saw, but there's like a kind of edgelordness to elements of it. Yeah. But like,
I remember the trailers looking very edgelordy. That's part of why I never saw them.
Yeah, that, and me too. And I put it off for a long time. And like,
I've heard from people I like, including you, that they're good. I've just not got around to them.
Yeah, I'd recommend checking them out. And the reason that I thought of it again is I was reminded that they actually made 2 episodes of a TV series out of it, which I just finished watching all of last night.
Oh, cool.
And the TV show, definitely go to that last, watch the movies first, but there's 5 movies, and I'm in the middle of rewatching. I watched 1, 2, and like half of 3 last night.
It's more than I thought, actually.
And they, in my opinion, they get better like as it goes along. It's kind of the opposite of a lot of franchises. Like I would say the first one is probably the weakest. And the best one probably is the 4th one, which is called The First Purge, which is kind of confusing when you say The First Purge, but it's the 4th movie. But that one is basically like a prequel that shows what you can imagine, the first Purge. And it's like, it was done as like a social psychological experiment on Staten Island. And like, there's some really obvious like political social allegory stuff going on in it. It's like basically all about just killing the underclass and like how the rich like also engage in this like just sadistic, fucked up, like legalizing murder for one night. I mean, I guess for those of you who don't know the basic premise, like one night a year in America under this regime called the New Founding Fathers of America, they they legalize all crime for 12 hours, including murder, and they encourage people to go out and purge. And like the purge is like double, sort of has like a two meanings, I guess. It's like you're supposed to purge yourself of all of your negative emotions and like hatred and frustrations once a year. And what they say is, oh, well, the purge like actually brings down the crime rate significantly and increases the economy and or improves the economy. And as you can imagine, it's more complicated than that. And a lot of the people in power are just lying. And anyway, there's a brand new Purge movie called The Forever Purge that just came out, and I watched that, and that got me to go back and watch all the other ones again. And it's fun. It's a fun franchise.
The Purge made me think of something I'd like to recommend, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I think you would love it if you haven't. Have you watched the British TV show Utopia from like 2013, 2014?
No.
This is about a group of people who find this like bizarre graphic novel that actually seems to be like telling the future, but then like the whole show centers around these people figuring out there's a conspiracy between like all of these like rich corporations who have decided to purge most of humanity through man-made viruses. And it's a beautiful show. It's just like really great cinematography the whole way out. The writing's really cool. So one of the few shows I've watched more than once, but for some reason The Purge made me think of it. Utopia, 2013 to 2014, 12-episode show. Just perfect. It's one of the shows I think is perfect. I guess there was a second season now I think about it. The second season is not perfect.
Is it?
I really like the first season.
I'm just looking it up right now. Is it British or Australian? All I see is Australian, and it says there's 3 seasons.
Nope, there shouldn't be 3 seasons. It's Utopia. Creator Dennis Kelly. It stars Paul Higgins and Adil Akhtar and Neil Mescal.
Oh, here we go. I see it now. I guess there's a few series called Utopia. I got it now. I got it. Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, we are on the internet. Sometimes, all the time. The internet is all the time. Forever internet. At heatdeathpod.com. Twitter at heatdeathpod. Patreon, patreon.com/heatdeathpod. We're trying to break even over there. And that's a good place to call it the end of the show.
Yep.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Have fun.
Purge yourself.
Have you lost your faith? Have you lost your way? Have you lost everything you thought you held yesterday? You should leave me behind and devote all your time to kissing the spoon that you once fed him from. Do you lose your mind somewhere in the night now, while searching the asides and the B-sides? You should leave me behind and devote all your time to licking the spoon that you once fed him from. Your faith? Have you lost your way? Have you lost everything you thought you held yesterday.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?